Okay, let me see. This meeting will come to order. Welcome everybody to the meeting. My name is Ed Green. I'm the chair of the Public Safety Committee, Bronx Community Board 8. I'm going to take a quick roll call to see who's here from our committee. I don't see many people, but Chris Calhoun.
Hello once again, Ed.
Chris Calhoun is present. You sound like you're in a fish tank, but you're present.
Maybe I.
Okay. Ingrid De Leon. Ingrid, are you here? No, Ingrid. Mary Ellen Gibbs.
Ta-da, I'm here.
Ellen's here. Ed Green is here. I'm here. Bob Kaplan. Bob, are you here? I don't think Bob's here. Scott Krompinger is not here. He told me he wouldn't be able to make it. Sergio Villaverde. Sergio, are you here? Sergio is not here. Okay, so, well, the secretary's draft of the minutes was sent to everybody, but we do not have a quorum. So what we'll do is we'll vote on it next month at our next meeting along with this month's minutes. So we may have to go out of order here on the agenda because I don't think our first guest is here tonight. Is Detective Martin Brownlee, are you here? Okay, I was told he is going to make it, but he's not here at the moment, so he'll have to give his presentation a little bit later on. We're going to have to get a little creative here and go out of order. I know, where is he? Ray Pultinas, I know you're here, right? There you go, Ray. So for everybody on the committee, this is a little unusual for public safety because we normally do the state liquor applications, but this is what's known as a SAPO, or it's really a street activity permit street activity permit office. And Ray, maybe you want to explain what you're applying for and what just a little bit about your what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Ray Pultinas, founder and director of James Baldwin Outdoor Learning Center. It's a nonprofit. We're about to launch the 4th year of our farmers market. We run it on Goulden Avenue there, corner of Sedgwick and West Moshulu Parkway South, right near DeWitt Clinton High School. And we started the market during the pandemic, actually, and it was a safe place for people to purchase farm fresh food. And we've really become kind of like a community building organization. We put a lot of emphasis at our market on serving good, healthy food, access to, great produce that comes in from Connecticut, small scale vendors, nothing very commercial. We do a lot of educational and environmental programming. So we have a lot of families who visit the market every Saturday. It becomes kind of like a routine or ritualistic Saturday gathering for many people in that immediate community. We work, we've worked with the Amalgamated Co-op on some of their events, also Tracy Towers. So we're kind of, we feel very embedded in that community. And so we're seeking an application, for our farmers market. It'll start June 17th and go through the end of October. Thanks,
Ray. And for the committee and for anybody who's wondering why this is coming up in public safety, I've been on traffic and transportation when this application has been brought before us. This is essentially, he's appearing for us as a favor to the board to make sure we can vote on this at the board at our next board meeting. We don't have, like I said before, we don't have a quorum tonight, but it's not going to matter, Ray. We're going to unofficially approve it here, I would imagine, and take it before the board. We've all dealt with you before. You've come before us numerous times and we all, you know, we've all supported you in the past and I don't see any why it would be any different this time. So, is there anything else you'd like to say about it or that's it?
I appreciate, your support and hope to see you at the market. It's, it's really if you haven't been there, it's quite an interesting, gathering.
I have, and I live a couple of blocks away, so yeah, I can endorse it, sure. Is there anybody from the committee that has any questions for Ray about the farmer's market application?
Ed, do you mind if I ask a question from the fire department?
Absolutely. Craig.
So just a curiosity, I mean, obviously I know the area. So along Goulden, these are trucks that had park along Goulden there, or are you using part of the sidewalk? Are you on the DEP side?
Yeah, we don't, we're not very far down on Goulden. We're really there, right outside the campus of DeWitt Clinton, where we have Meg's Garden. We steward that garden space, edible forest. There's a DOT property there in an unused roadway, and that's where the market takes place, on that unused roadway. If you can imagine, there's just an island with a pollinator garden that we started there, and that's also an aspect of the market.
Are there a number of trucks that come in associated with the vegetables, et cetera?
We have one farmer who comes in primarily truck, and it's not a very big truck. It's like a oversized pickup truck, basically.
The only reason I ask is that street has recently started to get filled with some commercial vehicles and some campers that are being, that camper thing has been laying all over the city now on streets that are, usually unused. So I'm just curious if there's going to be a flood of additional trucks there.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of that. And actually we maintain a lot of the street trees on Goulden, and we find a lot of, just dumping going on from those, parties and things. But it's really not connected with anything that we do.
Very good. That was all I was asking. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That's great. Does anybody else have any other questions for Ray? Okay, with that, like I mentioned before, we only have 3 people here in the committee. I'm just going to ask them, you guys, one at a time, a simple yes for approval, approve or disapprove, I guess. I see someone else coming in. Mary Ellen Gibbs,
Approve.
Chris Calhoun,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, approve also. So Ray, even though this is unofficial and I can't bring it in the form of a resolution, I will bring it as a resolution from the floor of our board meeting. And like I said, most of the people on our board are familiar with you and your, farmers market from the past. So I don't foresee any problems here. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Am I required to attend that next meeting? And when is it?
You're not required. You may want to, but it's usually, what is it? The second Tuesday of.
Yes.
You know what? We've had all kinds of holidays lately, so I don't want to say exactly when it is because we've had to shuffle the schedule a bit. But you could contact the board. It's usually the second Tuesday, right, Mary Ellen?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Okay. Good night.
Okay, so give me 1 second. Let me just make sure. Did Detective Brownlee, are you here yet, Detective? Okay, he's not here yet. Give me 1 second, guys. NYPD, Cesar Sali, you got a police report for us.
I believe the captain is on the call as well. I'm just waiting for her to chime in if she is.
Yeah, I'm here. How are you guys?
Hey, how are you, Captain? Okay. Is Cesar, are you giving the report or is the captain? I think we lost the captain.
Sorry, what is it that you want? A report?
Yeah,
A crime overview?
yes.
All right.
Yep.
I have it
Hold
in
on.
front of, me. You want me to take over that?
No, that's not the one that you have.
Okay.
Hold on one second. I got it. The one that I have in front of me is the old one, but lucky for you, I was at Comstat today, so I remember everything that I had to say. Usually what we do when we report crime, we go by a 28-day period, which is about a month's period. And I'll tell you that, we are up total 10% in crime across the 7 major categories. So they include burglary, robbery, grand larceny. Those are the categories that we're up in. We're about 40% up in robberies for the 28-day period, and that's attributed to a moped pattern that was the suspect was doing purse snatches on a moped, and he's responsible for 3 of those robberies all on his own. Also, we have another pattern for smoke shops, where the smoke shops are being robbed at gunpoint for their for currency or for merchandise. We've had 2 instances in that same period. So that's another 2 that the robberies are accounted for. There's some domestic violence ones that have arrests on them already. As far as the burglaries go, we're seeing a trend here in the 5-0 for burglaries. Unfortunately, these suspects are coming through the windows of homes, residential apartments, as well as houses. I believe it's 16 apartments that they came in through the window or the front door, and 1 house. Items taken really range from anything from jewelry to trash bags to nothing. Amazon packages seem to be obviously something that these offenders who are looking to get some quick money, it's something that they're after. What we're doing here, being that the grand larceny autos have actually calmed down after we put our plan in place, now we have to shift our focus over to the burglaries because obviously that's a very scary thing to have a person in your home and then you discover a person in your home. So whereas as car crimes are important and we've managed to get a handle on that, we're going to shift our focus over to the burglaries, and we're working on a plan right now to move our resources over to combat that, as well as put some administrative and precinct rules in place, my own policies that the officers are going to follow to fight this crime. Thank you.
Thanks, Captain. Just one quick question I have about the burglaries. Are these 16 burglaries in any one specific area? Are they spread out all over the place?
They're spread out across the 3 zones in the 5-0. So we have Adam, Boy, Charlie, and they're spread out across all 3. However, we did notice some being at the very far corners of the precinct. So we think the ones in the middle might be connected or might be one person or possibly 2 separate people doing them. And we're looking at what we call a recidivist, so a burglary recidivist. So that's someone who has been to jail several times for burglary. We're looking at those people who live in the 5-0, and we're gonna see which one of them have liability, for example, warrants, or they're wanted on another crime, and we're gonna go out and grab them in case that they're the ones doing the same thing over and over again.
Thank you. I have a few things, but does anybody from the committee have any questions for Captain Sarrar in the 50th precinct? I see Chris Calhoun and then Mariano. Chris,
Hello once again, Captain. All I have is another batch of accolades for you, like I did the last time I met you. I noticed the auto larceny, a lot of the quality of life crimes, which you said you would look into, such as the parking in front of hydrants and just people throwing their cars all over the place, including all the campers and vehicles that have decided to set up shop along the Henry Hudson Parkway service roads have been totally cleared up. And I just wanted to say, throw a little positivity your way once again. People are taking notice that a lot of these little things are getting addressed, and just wanted to say thanks on behalf of the community.
Well, I appreciate that. I will take credit for the direction that I gave, but the work was done all by the officers here in the 5-0 and they took, my direction seriously and they got it done. Did it take time? Yes, but we took care of it. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Mary Ellen?
Hi, Captain. How are you?
Hi, how are
Also, on the beginning of a positive note, I had sent some pictures in for the abandoned vehicles on West 235th Street. And thank you so much. Those were cleared out so fast. I was like, wow, they were there forever. And then boom, they were gone. Another thing, I feel like us constituents are not being heard by the police officers lately. Because I had one instance by the 235th Street overpass where these three guys are making a plan on they were gonna rob the old lady. So I ran into the Columbia building. The doorman quickly pulled up the surveillance camera. And the officer that responded that time didn't even want to see it. She goes, oh, well, I'll just look down the hill. I said, but you don't know what they look like. And it was just, I was treated really rudely. So the next time I came out of my house, and funny enough, that red scooter that's always being brought up comes right up behind me in front of my building. And the guy was kind of grabbed my purse 3 times. So I kept on the revving. And I just turned around, I made a joke and I went, not the wrong old lady. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, it took off. But then it was like really odd that this red scooter keeps on coming up. But I didn't report it because I felt like I was made a fool of the first time. So I'm not going to do that again. And then this instance in my building where I had my mailbox broken into twice. The first time I reported it, the 2 officers that came were very rude to me. I told them outside because I have a big problem with my super. He's very threatening to the females in the building. And we all feel like very uncomfortable with it. So I said, please, when we speak in front of him, if he comes out, try to make it like, he's not there or whatever, because he's going to feel like he's given right. He started screaming and yelling at me right in front of them. And they were like, well, what do you want us to do? That's exactly how they were talking to me. It was really bad. I actually sent you an email. And then when they writing up the report outside, I just want to stand there and make sure that, in case I needed more information. And they were like making stupid comments to me out the window of the car. And I was like, I can't believe this. And then this week, again, my mailbox was broken into again. So I went down to the precinct today to report it and those 2 officers. And I was made to feel so uncomfortable. I was almost in tears. I'm having anxiety right now talking about it because it was really uncomfortable. And I hate to do that because my father was a member of service and it really pains me to report officers because I have such high respect. I mean, I've walked up to Starbucks and slashed my car before they would too, so I appreciate so much what you guys are going through. And I sent you an email to speak to you because it was just very unsettling. I felt like the victim was made a fool of.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry it happened. I mean, I can.
Even with the
assure-
desk sergeant today, and I felt really made a fool of, and
I
I
didn't
was really upset.
in here. As far as the email, I don't remember seeing one. I do remember seeing an email and I thought it was to speak about the park, 233 and Jerome. Was that?
No, it was, I wrote that I was part of this committee. I'd like to speak to you on a important matter.
Please email me again and I'm happy to meet with you.
I would
Um,
love to. Thank you so much. What is your email? Make sure I have it correct. Can you?
It's so long. Hold on, let me see if I can put
I
it in,
know, it's like it's your first name dot something, right?
in my last name. Yeah, let me see if there's a chat
Hey,
here.
hey, Captain, would it
I'll tell you
be-
what, Captain, I'll give you my email address. This way I can go fast.
Oh.
Hairmaster45. Like hair, like HAIRMASTER 45
Okay,
at AOL.com.
okay.
And my name is Mary Ellen Gibbs. Thank you so much, Captain.
I did see your email. I didn't realize it was
Yeah,
about.
because a lot of the constituents in the neighborhood are complaining that the cops aren't taking reports and everything else, so it's bad.
Thank you, Mary Ellen.
Yeah. We'll meet and we can address that and you'll be right in my office talking to me. So,
Thank you so much. I appreciate that because
you're very welcome.
the
Sorry.
anxiety level is pretty bad right now.
Please calm down. It's, don't feel like that. We'll take care of everything.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, ma'am.
So, Captain, I have a couple of things that I wanted to bring up, and one of them, to me, the most serious one that you know, it kind of went viral, so to speak, was a police officer being hit over the head with a bottle at 231st Street in Broadway near the cannabis retail store. And I believe those officers were doing some type of an inspection or standing by while the sheriff's unit, and it's pretty disturbing video. The guy looks, and then the guy followed up by hitting a female police officer in the head by throwing punches at the male police officer who was with her. So I guess this was a big deal in your precinct, right?
Yeah, so we've had a lot of complaints, as I mentioned before, about these cannabis stores. And also, there also a second aspect to this where these cannabis stores are also being victims of robberies. So our approach has been, since the NYPD cannot do marijuana enforcement, we have gotten, along with the sheriff's department, who does enforce those types of laws, as well as other, things like tax laws and such that the NYPD is not in charge of. So we do what we call like a task force, and we go in together, and each agency is able to enforce their particular laws that applies to them and their jurisdiction. So the NYPD officers, since they were not conducting the enforcement of the marijuana, were doing site security. Unfortunately for that female officer, she was not 100% aware of her surroundings, and an emotionally disturbed person decided that God spoke to him and told him to hit the officer in the head with a bottle. That is what happened. He was arrested on scene, and I believe last I checked on him, he was still in jail.
Okay, so the one thing I will comment on that is, so that area, 231st Street in Broadway, it's one of the areas, that's come up a lot in this committee as far as vagrancy, panhandling, illegal vending. And, we realize that a lot of these things have essentially been decriminalized at this point. And I don't know what the 50th precinct can do besides have a police presence there possibly, but a lot of these issues, I think if some of these issues were cracked down on, the area would improve drastically, but I know it's easier said than done. And I really don't know what to do at this point, other than what do you have any suggestions, like more police presence or something? Because it's like the slow deterioration of that area between the vagrancy and the panhandling and the illegal vending. It's
Yeah, so
poor
to
quality
paint
of life stuff.
to paint a picture of what it looks like here, in the 50, I have about 150 people in all different ranks that work for me. On patrol, so those are the people that ride around in the cars and answer the radio runs. On just regular patrol, I would say that I have, let me see, and I did the math today because I was at a stat. I have only 72 full duty cops in the 50. So if you divide that around on 3, which is the 3 different shifts that we have, that will give you 24 cops each shift, each platoon. And if you take into account people's days off, as they rotate days off, that gives you 12 officers. So on each shift, you have about 12 officers who need to cover the entire 50 precinct and answer radio runs, move movers, move double park cars, do quality of life things, go to 233 and Jerome and move the people making noise there, answer in 311s, or maybe someone did shoplifting in Rite Aid and they got an arrest. And if, someone comes in with an arrest, that's less people out there on patrol. So that's the kind of thing that we're always battling. It doesn't mean that we're not resourceful. We don't try to find ways to handle your complaints, as we have been. I mean, you guys just said it yourself. Like I'm very short, but I find ways to handle the things that you complain about. So as far as the homeless, the panhandling, those things are decriminalized. I don't know if you realize that in New York City. So there's not much the police can do until those types of persons exhibit some sort of behavior that causes us to believe they are a danger to themselves or others. Other than that, we cannot remove them anymore.
Okay, is it a budgetary issue as far as possibly getting more officers, or is that they're just gonna give us our area less because we're probably a less crime area than the South Bronx or something, you know?
Yeah, I don't think it's a budgetary issue. I think it just has to do with resource allocation. So whatever, officers they're able to get hired, the 50 typically does not see much. For example, everybody, other precincts got, anywhere from 12 to 20 new recruits from the graduating class. I received one.
Okay,
So
Uh,
if there's anything that you would, I'm not sure who you could reach out to ask for more staff. Maybe they would be maybe they would be inclined to listen to the community. However, I'm always advocating for my command to keep their people and to get more people. For example, I've had some of my cops being flown out to other precincts to help them with their violence. I've managed to stop that from happening so that I could keep them here, as well as the new recruits were also being flown out to other precincts to stand foot post there. And I succeeded at keeping mine here. I'm probably the only command in the Bronx that does not fly staff out because of how short I am.
okay, I'll just mention the next thing that I had was, and I believe this is right near the precinct too. So the guy walking on the tracks, I believe he had a gun and he was shot by a police officer on the tracks near 238th Street.
Yeah, so pretty amazing story. So a lot of the stuff that I get done, I use what I call special operations. So they consist of like traffic safety officers, public safety officers, neighborhood safety officers. They typically are not running around answering the 911 calls. So I'm able to use them to focus on other things. However, in this case, they did hear a 911 call come over in transit in the train for a man menacing others with a gun. So without thinking like they normally do, they would just rush into danger. They go and they see this man and they see that he has a gun and they chase after him on the catwalk of the train. Now they're putting over the direction that the suspect is fleeing. So another radio car hears this and intercepts in the following stop and walks towards the perpetrator and the other cops on the catwalk. So now they're sandwiched in a very narrow tunnel with officers on each side and the suspect in the middle. The suspect points the gun at my officers. They give him several commands to drop the firearm. He refuses, and I mean several commands. They did not want to shoot because there's officers behind him as well, and they had no choice. So he got shot once in the hand, and that's it.
Okay, and he was arrested for,
For attempted assault and criminal possession of a firearm.
okay. Mary Ellen, you have your hand up.
Yeah, real quick. That was the other positive thing I wanted to say. I don't know what that police officer's name was that returned, that fired at the suspect, but I'm amazed and I'm really happy to say that what great restraint that officer showed. Like he shot him in the hand to release the gun, like it could have been a lot, worse, whatever. But that was like wonderful that he shot him in the hand and nobody was hurt just to release that gun. So Captain, thank you very much. Like you have a good officer there.
I have wonderful cops here in the 50. Thank you.
Okay. Another thing I wanted to mention real quick is that earlier in the month, it says that 2 of the smoke shops were closed. Now, were these 2 in our area? I know one of them was in the Marble Hill area. Was the other one in your precinct area also? For unlicensed cannabis sales?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say yes, but I have more than that were closed, and more than that were raided. I think last time they were here, they took about 40,000 pounds, I want to say. Was it 40,000 pounds or $40,000 worth of marijuana from an operation that they did? They did pretty good here.
40,000 pounds sounds a little crazy, but it's anything's
I
possible.
mean,
It might be
I'm gonna have to say
$40,000.
that actually is like visualizing it, how light it
Yeah.
is. I don't really handle the marijuana, but like, I guess that's not right. I guess
Me
that's
neither.
that must be the monetary value.
Yeah, probably. So that was a cooperation between the sheriff's department, like you said, the different the different.
Yeah, we usually go with
Safety.
sheriff's department, my special operations, some patrol officers from across the city, tax. Um, anyone really, like it could be, sometimes we take Department of Buildings with us, sometimes we take the fire department with us, depends.
Okay, real quick, and again, I'm just relaying this because this is a complaint that came in through the board about illegal parking in Marble Hill. And they're saying that at the corner of Fort Charles and Marble Hill Avenue, there's illegal parking that's caused city garbage trucks and New York City school buses to have to back up the street and find a new route out of the neighborhood. So they're asking for, it says 6 school buses and 1 garbage truck had to be detoured because of this. So they're asking for better parking enforcement. Are you aware of that area?
Yeah, I'm aware of this. I know I've sent people, Fort Charles, and what was it again?
Marble Hill Avenue.
Yeah, I believe last week this complaint came to me and I had some people address it. It's possible that they need it every day. I'm not sure. I'll check again.
Okay, thank you. And the last thing I got is the board received a letter from one of the small business owners from the restaurant Tobala, from their family, and they're stating that, well, they're up at 3732 Riverdale Avenue, but they're saying that there's a smoke shop being built at 3734 Riverdale Avenue. You know what? I'm just going to read this. It's actually pretty well written letter. So we're writing because it has come to our attention that a smoke shop is being built in central Riverdale, directly adjacent to our restaurant Tobala. We are located at 3732 Riverdale Avenue. This store is being built at 3734 Riverdale Avenue, and we think it's important to note that there is no proper permitting posted on the storefront, and applications have not been submitted to the Department of Buildings or the Department of Community Affairs. We fear this kind of business can hurt our community and affect our business greatly, as we are next door to them. Our immediate neighbor is Yo Burger, which has a continuous stream of families who visit, along with our other neighbor, Salvatore's of Soho. Central Riverdale maintains a small town feel that is core to the neighborhood's character and as a family-oriented, safe area. As business owners, but more importantly, as parents of small children, we are concerned that a smoke shop in the heart of Riverdale will negatively impact the neighborhood and its family-oriented culture. Thank you for taking our concerns into consideration. So is this, I'm guessing that this is a Department of Buildings and Community Affairs issue. Is the 50th precinct, do you guys have any anything to do with this, or is this strictly those agencies that are supposed to enforce these type of things?
So Community Affairs falls under the NYPD and the precinct. Department of Buildings, I would say, is good to make a complaint there. The sheriff's office also, but I mean, we could also, take a look at it.
All right, so should we pass this on to you formally in an email from the board or something? Because it sounds like, from the sounds of this, it sounds like they're just putting the store up without having the proper permits or applications. So this letter claims, I guess that can be checked out.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, I'll have someone from the board forward that to you, and we can take a look at that.
Okay.
Okay, so unless anybody has any more questions for Captain Sorora, that'll be it for the 50th precinct report. And FDNY, Greg, you got something for us? I know you don't have stats for us this time, but I may
Yeah,
have.
no, nothing specific. Like I said, I'll have the stats forwarded by Rich. I'll have them forwarded to me and then send them to you. But I don't have anything specific, no specific trends or anything. We've already prior discussed, the lithium-ion battery problem that's widespread.
Okay,
I think
we're
everybody's aware of that at this point.
gonna continue that conversation later, because that's still a very serious issue in our
It
community.
is ongoing.
Yeah,
and
the
widespread.
one thing I did want to mention that I got from FDNY that I don't know if you want to comment on or not. So I got from the Office of Management and Budget that the, there was a request for, 168 FDNY EMS ambulances, and it was approved for, if I'm reading this right, 93,833,000 plus. Is that possible? Are they that expensive? But it's 168 EMS, FDNY EMS ambulances. Did you hear anything about this? And if so, what's coming to, how much of this is coming to our area?
Yeah, that would be completely outside of my lane.
I tried.
Yeah, that's a headquarters thing. I can't speak to that. My role really is I am your local response unit. So like at the street level, the basics of the interactions with the fire department, that'd be more my world.
Okay, anyway, Greg, thanks for coming, and I'll make sure you get a formal invitation each time, and maybe we'll have you back with some stats and some more conversation about the batteries in
I appreciate that.
upcoming months. Thanks for coming, though.
Thank you.
Okay, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so next up is the New York State Liquor Authority renewal applications. So is there anybody here from Moss Cafe? I know we have somebody from Moss Cafe. Emily from Moss Cafe. You're muted, Emily. Can you hear me? She must have stepped out for a second. I see her there. Emily from Moss Cafe. We'll get back to her.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
Just wanted to let everybody know that we looked over the SLA applicants and we don't have any known incidents or issues with those locations. I'm sorry that I can't stay on much longer.
I'm glad you said it. I'm gonna have to repeat myself a bunch of times.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I figured that everybody should hear it from me instead of me relaying it to like one person.
Great. Emily,
All right.
how are you? I see you there. We just called you 1 second ago. You must have stepped out for 1 second. You were waiting patiently.
I did. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Emily, Moss Cafe, right?
Correct.
Okay, so how's business?
Business is good. It's we just extended our hours to 8 p.m., which pre-COVID we were open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and we closed for 5 months, and then we reopened in August of 2020, only from 8 to 3, doing only takeout, and have kind of existed with many iterations since then. And we finally decided that the time was right to extend our hours, and so now we're open till 8 p.m. So hopefully that's, we have not been able to get back to where we were pre-COVID, but we've been just sort of keeping on just for the sake of the community and just keep going. And hopefully the extended hours will be the boost that we need, but we continue to do a lot of great work in the neighborhood and form a lot of great, interconnected relationships. I was really happy to see the James Baldwin Learning Center represented here. We work with them too. So a lot of the community work we're doing is what continues to encourage us to keep going, even when financially times can be hard.
I think I have a suspicion that business is going to get a lot better for a lot of people this summer. We're starting to see it on the subways already with the increased ridership. So I think things are starting to come around. I hope for everybody's sake in our community and you guys too. So you missed the Officer Salas said that there were no issues at your business or anybody's business. So you have a clean bill of health, so to speak, from the 50th precinct. So as I mentioned earlier, I don't know if anybody heard, we don't have a quorum here on the committee tonight. So this, I'm just gonna take an unofficial vote, and I will bring this up at the floor, and you have the committee's recommendation, and I'll bring it up from the floor for a full board vote. And you're not gonna have any problems with this, okay? So do you have any questions for me or for the committee or for?
No, not at all.
Okay. Was there any problem with SLA with you guys with Did you have any correspondence? Maybe I'm getting the wrong. No, with SLA previously? Or questions for our board office about SLA, the process?
I didn't have any problems, but I did, with the email approval of the 30-day notice.
Right.
There was something that the person I emailed was like, oh, this is news to me. Cause I was going through, my checklist and I was looking up something online. I don't use a lawyer. A lot of people use lawyers. I just like to do things myself. So I was going through everything, double, triple checking, and there was this specific piece to it where if an email approval is going to be utilized by a committee to show receipt of the 30-day notice, that they have to email also this very specific email address with a specific subject line. And I shared it with the person who emailed me, so they have it now, but I don't think that got
I appreciate that because I had to actually check up on that and it was the SLA has a new policy that they, just implemented a few months ago that we weren't familiar with that. So I'm glad you brought that up. It was sharp of you to catch that because, we didn't catch it. So
no problem.
Yeah, cool. All right. So, committee, Chris, you approve of this application for Morse Cafe? Chris, can you hear me?
He froze.
Oh, he is frozen. Chris, give me a thumbs up or a hand if you can hear me, because you're frozen. Well, Mary Ellen, how about you?
Yes, for one of those delicious pastries. Now, yes, I approve.
Well, I approve it too. So even if Chris doesn't approve it, it passes. But Chris, I'm sure he approves. So Emily, thanks for coming out, and I'll bring this up from the floor of our full board meeting for a vote, and there won't be any issues with passing this. Okay?
All right, thank you so much. Is it, should I stay on or no?
No, you're free to go. I'm sure you got a lot of business. You can stay or leave, whatever floats your boat.
And Chris is unfrozen.
Great.
Okay, Chris, are you unfrozen now?
Yeah, I'm frozen.
Are you a yes for Morse Cafe for the record?
Enthusiastic, yes.
Very good. All right,
Thank you so much.
Bronx Ale House. Is there anyone here from Bronx Ale House?
Yes, I'm here, James Langstein.
Hey, James, thanks for being patient.
No problem.
So I'm sure you heard, the 50th precinct said there's no issues with your business or this address. Do you have any questions for the committee? Do you have anything? How's everything going with? Do you have any issues?
No particular issues at all. We're similar to Moss. Our business is adjusted many ways in the last 3 years or so, but like you said, it seems to be coming back. Good weather helps that in general, and just time is helping that. So hopefully it continues to go that direction.
Okay, great. So like I'll repeat myself because just to make it clear that we don't have a quorum for this committee, so we're going to vote unofficially, but I will bring this up at the full board meeting from the floor, and the committee will recommend to pass this application as long as everybody here is fine with it. Mary Ellen, yes for Bronx Ale House, or
Yes for me.
Chris?
Yes, for me too.
And yes for me too. So and James, thank you again for coming out, and we will bring this up for a vote at the full board meeting, and good luck with your business this summer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up, we have SLA new applications. So do we have anybody here from the Johnson or Johnson Diner?
Yes,
Who's yes? Where's yes? Giorgio.
yes, George is fine. Thank you. How are you?
George. Okay, good. How are you?
Very well.
Okay, so new application and a temporary retail permit. Why the temporary retail permit? Just out of curiosity.
To be honest, I'm not exactly sure why that was added. Retail, I'm not sure.
I can take a guess for you. Your lawyer probably set this up, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So what happens is the it's a matter of timing. Sometimes these things are very slow and they want to get the temporary retail permit to get you going before because the application process is slow. So that's generally what it is. So 3533, that was the Blue Bay previously, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank God. I'm glad you guys are, yeah. So what made you choose that spot?
It came to us. We know the neighborhood's a great neighborhood. I think it still needs a good diner, a nice neighborhood diner, and I think it will be great.
Do you own any other businesses currently?
Yes. So my partner, Stefano, he was the original owner of the Dell Diner. I think he sold it about 5 to 10 years ago, and then now he has a couple of taco places called Cantina, one in Harlem and one in White Plains, and I own a cafe bar in Astoria, Queens.
Okay, does anybody from the committee have any questions for George?
Been seen on the show and then our paths crossing again and meeting a judge and having.
Okay, also, George, I noticed that we did receive a 2 a.m. agreement from you guys, so that's all good. 2 a.m. closing agreement. What are your hours gonna be, George?
I believe we're gonna go for 8 a.m. to maybe 11 or 12, you know? See what the neighborhood needs, if we could do some deliveries later at night, but nothing too late.
Yeah, no, you should do. I know a few guys will be over there every single day for lunch. So, yeah. Okay, so with that, 2 a.m. agreement is signed. New full liquor license, the Johnson, 3533 Johnson Avenue. Mary Ellen, do you approve of this?
Yes, I approve, and I walk past every day. You have a lot of mail sticking out of your mailbox.
And
Chris, you approve of this?
I'm already hungry for the opening. Yes.
Yeah, I'm
it'll
waiting
be
for
a
my.
little while. It's
I'm
gonna
waiting
be
for
a
my
little while.
bacon cheeseburger deluxe also, so I approve.
me too.
also.
You got it. It's gonna be a little while though.
And like I said before, this is an unofficial vote because we don't have enough committee members here tonight, but I will bring it up for a vote from the floor at the full board meeting. I have Nick Fazio actually is our economic development chair. He has his hand raised. Nick, you got something to say?
Hi, thank you, Chair Green. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, George. Congratulations on your new endeavor.
Thank
It
you.
sounds like you know what you're doing already, but I just want to let you know that if you have any issues with DOB and permitting, I assume you're going to have to build that out if you haven't started already. Please reach out to us because the DOB has a new initiative that is actually a really good one. It's the small business support team. So you can get assigned essentially a project manager with the DOB preemptively to make sure that everything is running smoothly. So if you're not aware of that, reach out to the board office. They can connect you they can connect you with me, or they can connect you directly to the DOB small business support team.
Yeah, that would be great because we're starting everything from scratch. They didn't have a lot of things to code. So we got to start from like it's a vanilla box between gas, everything. So we're not looking up until October. I'll definitely reach out to the community board office
Please
to
do.
get whatever we can. We got all the permits approved by the DOB and the landlord. So we are going to be starting on Monday.
Great. This is a new initiative and this year, and so far the specialists are really they're doing a good job. So that's not always the case with new initiatives, but this one's really working. So please take advantage of it. Reach out to the board office and we'll make sure we connect you with the right people.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for letting us know. That can be a great help.
Nick, thanks so much. Again, thank you for showing up. That's some great stuff. And George, good luck.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, and last but not least, do we have anybody from China 21 Restaurant Group at 3511 Johnson Avenue? Hey, you're muted, Jay. You're muted. Let me see if I can unmute you. Hold on.
Look under the participant list and then you'll see, you can click that icon.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
gotcha.
Oh, okay. Hi, how are you?
Good, good. I know you've been waiting patiently. You're the first person I saw when I came on. You're here before I was. So China 21 Restaurant Group, what's your address, Jay?
It's a 35-11 Johnson Avenue.
Okay. Okay, and who is Li Jian?
Li Jian is the president and he's not able to come tonight because he's traveling in China.
Okay, and you are?
My
And-
name is Jay Yu. I'm the representative.
Okay. Okay, so this is a new application and temporary retail permit for wine, beer, and cider. Did you get any correspondence from the community board about signing a 2 a.m. closing agreement?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
What happened was that I notified you back in about a year ago.
Mhm.
And then I haven't heard anything, but I did receive a return receipts. I sent you the certified mail. And then I thought everything went smooth. And then I thought you are not responding. So I thought you are not objecting for anything. And then what happened was that I filed the application. And finally, a year later, I received a deficiency letter and they're asking us to re-notify because there's some discrepancy on the notification. So I did send you again. And then somebody from community board called me and a little guy walked into the community board and delivering my mail to you. And then I went back to the address, your address, and then the address was wrong. And then for somehow, the return receipt came back. And then there's no way I can find it out. I sent it to the wrong address. But this time you got my letter because the little young guy delivered it to you. And then you scheduled it for the meeting for tonight because
Okay.
of that.
Yeah, there's no issue. It's what do you intend your hours to be? Do you know what your hours?
Yeah, it's 11:30 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay, so
7 days a week.
there shouldn't be a problem. So any new business, our community board, we request that a new business sign a 2 a.m. closing agreement, just stating that they're gonna close their business by 2 a.m. So that shouldn't conflict with your hours at all.
No, I don't think so.
Are you okay with that?
That's fine.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll have the board, and this should have been done, but I'll have the board send you this notification either tomorrow or Monday, hopefully tomorrow. And we'll get you to sign it and send it back. But that 2 a.m. agreement would have nothing to do with SLA's discrepancy, whatever it is. And from what I've heard, SLA has been doing that quite a bit. I don't know what the issue is. That would be between you and SLA. That really has nothing to do with our community board, as far as I can tell. Okay, so I don't know what the discrepancy was, but it certainly wasn't over that 2 a.m. closing agreement.
Yeah, it's a regular, it's called a deficiency. They want to know more information on. And the reality is this, I mean, because they have a lot of new examiners and then they do not really know how to review the paperwork. A lot of time they make it very difficult. It wasn't the problem previously, but since they are new and then they give a lot of things a lot stricter. And then one of the things is that they want me to re-notify you. So that's why I re-notify.
Thanks.
And frankly speaking, the application was approved by the SLA. And all we have to do now is we just go and pick up a license.
Great. Nick Fazio, you have your hand up. You have a question for Jay?
Oh, that's from before.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's from before? Okay. Okay, so with that, like I said, we'll send you that hopefully tomorrow. And Mary Ellen, any yes, thumbs up for China 21 Restaurant at 3511 Johnson Avenue?
That's a yes for me.
Chris?
Another yes.
And a yes for me too. So this is approved unofficially because we don't have a quorum, but I'll bring it for a vote at the full board meeting. And there should be no issues with this. And like I said, we'll reach out to you tomorrow with the with one of the documents for you to sign, okay? And
Okay.
good luck with your business. I'm looking forward to going there myself.
Okay, thank you very much.
Take care. Have a good evening.
night, everybody. Thanks.
Okay, so I don't see him, but I'm gonna call him anyway. I don't know if our guest ever got here. Just to give this a little context, so we had a guest speaker, Detective Martin Brownlee, who was supposed to be here, and he contacted the 50th precinct earlier, so I don't know exactly why he's not here now. And if he doesn't show up by the end of this meeting, I could figure this out and hopefully invite him back. He was from the police commissioner's liaison unit. So with that, we go to old business, which is we have the final capital and expense budget requests. And you know what? I don't even think we have anybody from the 50th on anymore. I know Cesar had to drop out. He texted me that he had to go, but I don't think we need them, to be honest with you. I think everything's pretty tight with this right now, but I'll go over it. So did it Mary Ellen, did you get an email with our the capital and expense budget list on it?
No,
You didn't?
nope.
All right. That has to be addressed. Chris, did you get an email with our capital and expense budget? You got it. Okay. So Mary Ellen, I apologize. I don't know why I'm apologizing because I didn't not send it to you, but I'm apologizing to you anyway for not getting it, and I'll straighten that out with our staff. Because I requested that this be sent out to all committee members, so I'll straighten that out with them. But I'll read off. I'm going to read off everything anyway. So the first is the capital budget requests. So we have 3 requests on it. Well, it's kind of more than 3 because one is just a host of Argus cameras. And I went over this painstakingly with the 50th precinct. We corresponded. I got lists from them. So at this point, to me, it's not really even necessary that they're here for this because we've gone over this 6 ways to Sunday. So Argus cameras, and if anybody's not familiar with what Argus cameras are, they capture video footage in high definition, potentially up to 2 blocks distance from the camera. So they're useful for a lot of things, but specifically for catalytic converter theft and robbery and safety measures for local businesses. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 10, and these things are expensive too. They're on the capital budget list. They're pretty expensive. You know, if we could get them in all these locations, that would be terrific. But anything that we get them in is welcome. So we have one at Marshallou Avenue and Tyndall Avenue, which is a business corridor. We have one at West 230th Street and Kingsbridge Avenue. We have one at West 238th Street and Bailey Avenue, West 231st Street and Bailey Avenue, Broadway and West 231st Street, West 231st Street pedestrian overpass by Henry Hudson Parkway, Bailey Avenue and Van Cortlandt Park South, Sedgwick Avenue and Gouverneur Avenue by the reservoir on the reservoir side, and East 233rd Street and Jerome Avenue, which I did when. Okay, so these last 2, East 233rd Street and Jerome Avenue and West 195th Street and Reservoir Avenue. When I got this request from the 50th precinct for those locations, I did not even realize they were part of our area. They seem so far off the beaten path, but I looked at the map carefully and they're right on the borders of, we actually, all the way up to East 233rd and Jerome is the 50th precinct. So yes, these 2 areas are part of our area. So those are all the cameras in the oh, this is also a joint request with traffic and Transportation and Economic Development. And I got approval from Kelly and Nick. And oh, Nick, I'm glad you're here, actually, Nick, because initially, I think when we spoke, we were going to split this up for some with the business corridor to go with the joint and some not. And I wish I had a better reason than this right now, but I know I came up with something more rational, but I think it just doesn't seem practical. Are you okay with being on all of these? Because we have several locations that we didn't agree upon, initially. And then again, I can send you this and we can hash this out, before they're actually voted on. But some of these locations, you remember what we were talking about some of them were business corridor and some weren't?
Yeah, if I can make a suggestion that
Sure.
the ones that include the commercial corridors, if you want, we can leave them on economic development. I can't, without reconferring with my committee on specific locations, I can't just say, yeah, include us on those, other than the ones in the commercial corridors, just
Fair
because
enough.
we would essentially have to meet again and
Fair
have a
enough.
discussion about that.
I'll split them up. I thought it would be more practical to keep them all together like that, but I'll split them up. David, I see David Gelman, Chair of the Budget Committee, is here and he has his hand raised. David, what's
Yeah,
going
I
on?
just wanted to say, Nick, while I agree that it's a good practice, there's nothing in the bylaws that says that you must have committee approval. So I leave that up to your judgment.
That's correct. And that's one of the reasons I chose to do this, by the way. Thank you for reminding me, David.
So Nick, whatever you wish to do, but there's nothing in the bylaws that says that you actually have to have a vote on anything. So
No, I understand that, but we didn't discuss these, vote aside. So because we didn't discuss them, we didn't have a consensus. I'm not comfortable just.
that's a good reason. I'm just saying you're not required.
I understand that. Thank you.
It's no big deal. I can tweak it and resend it. No problem. Okay, so the second item is 3 pole cameras. Pole cameras are surveillance cameras positioned on street poles used primarily for facial recognition, and they're positioned closer to street level than the Argus cameras. So the Captain Soror requested these, and the locations that she gave me were 2 of them in the courtyard of the Marble Hill houses, capturing the front of 5360 Broadway, and 1 at 5480 Broadway. So we're putting in those are our second item on this list. And the third would be 5 police cars they say they need. And many of the police cars are routinely out of service and are awaiting repairs due to mainly mechanical wear and tear issues. So there's not enough police vehicles in the precinct to accommodate officers requiring them. So that's the reasoning we're, this almost seems like a wing and a prayer to me, but let's hope, let's think positive. Hopefully they'll give us our precinct the resources they need. So that's it for the, it's 3, we'll split it up into 4 because of the August cameras. We'll go at without economic development on a couple only because the committee has not agreed to that. So expense budget requests. Okay, 2 sound meters, and the sound meters are used to measure noise decibel levels, and they're useful for measuring potentially unlawful sound levels of loud music and abrasive noises that disturb the peace. Our second item is 2 tint meters, and these are both requests from the NYPD from the 50th precinct. And they're used to measure tint levels on car windows, and certain tint levels violate state law and are sometimes used to conceal criminal activity within the vehicle. That's the reason, for the tint meters. The third item is playground interior lighting. Now, I'm just throwing this one in the expense budget. I don't know how expensive this is going to get. I'm assuming it's going to be, and I don't know, David. So David, I got a question for you. So let's say, I mean, I don't have exact numbers on these things. Let's say for argument's sake that one of these items overshoots the criteria for expense budget. How does that work? Does it just get thrown away, or can it be transferred over to the capital budget to make sure we're getting what we're asking for?
They probably, the agency would probably say this is a capital item.
And ignore it or actually fund it?
Those are two very different questions.
Right.
They wouldn't, I don't think they would ignore it. I think they would suggest making a capital request. And then, you know, whatever response they have, you know, whether it's something they can budget, whether you should talk to the council member, you know, the usual kinds of things.
All right, so with that being said, I don't want to get too much into the weeds here, but maybe in the future, since we really don't know the costs on a lot of these things, if we could find out some way of getting some type of estimate, not an estimate, but some type of sheet on what estimate costs are. You know, I don't know if anything like this.
Well, what are we referring to?
To anything really, anything that's itemized.
Well, I mean, it's $35,000 is to me, it's a bad criterion, but that is the criterion that the city uses.
Right. Well, I'm talking about the items themselves. If we have no idea how much, because when somebody told me that these August cameras were like $35,000, my eyes almost popped out of my head.
Right.
I would have had no clue that they would have even come close to that.
Yeah, well, I think it's because of the support system behind it. But is your question really about the tint meters and the noise meters?
No, it's really about everything moving forward. If there is some type of a spreadsheet that exists that we can take a look at what prices are, we can know what we're talking about a little better.
None that I know of. I would suggest asking the 5-0 if they know, because they're more likely to have that information.
Okay, so
But I would speculate if you're talking about the tint meters and the noise meters, that yes, they would be under 35,000.
those I realized. What I wasn't sure about is the interior lighting for Marble Hill Playground. I don't know what that entails. So this
Well,
place,
that's going to be much more than 35,000.
really, you think?
Yeah, because it's probably 10 high quality lights. Wouldn't you think, Chris? I mean, you're the one who brought this up and it's in your neighborhood, but I would imagine at least the four corners and probably in between another 4. So it's probably 8 or 10, you know, high level, you know, mercury vapor or possibly LED lighting.
I agree with you.
All right, I was thinking more in terms of 1 or 2 street lights, but if that's the case, I'll switch this
Oh,
over.
no.
to
Well, I think what you're talking about is very high intensity lighting. The only question is whether it's mercury vapor or if LED is sufficient, which does tend to be cheaper.
I'll
But
switch
it's always the installation. Getting up on that high is and wiring it could be a challenge.
I'll switch it over to the capital budget, to a capital budget item. Okay, so the last
Ed?
one,
Ed,
yes.
I just wanted to say on the previous item of the playground lighting, the address is slightly off. It's 228th, not 238th.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you're right. Thank you. I'll change that. Okay, so the last item is a joint request between Traffic and Transportation and Education, and I will just note that, like I said, Kelly said okay from Traffic and Transportation. Their committee is with us, but I have not gotten a reply from Sylvia from Education yet on this. So that's where we are with that. And it's a school crossing guard at the intersection of Hillman and Sedgwick Avenue. Really basically for the PS 95 and Am Park neighborhood schools. We've been trying to get this since I've been on the board and they've ignored us, but I'm going to keep trying until we get it or not, So that's it. Those are our budget request items. And I still don't see detective anywhere. I do have one last thing I want to bring up, and Nick, if you're going to be here for 1 minute,
Ed, you're going to get those to me tomorrow?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you.
And Okay, give me 1 second, guys. So, Nick, I'm actually glad you're here for this because I received what I thought was kind of a, well, nothing strange anymore, but I received a request earlier this month. Well, the board received a request earlier this month from a cannabis dispensary. So I'm going to just read this so everybody understands what this is about. So, hello, we are a newly CAURD licensed Bronx dispensary looking to establish our retail location and finally bring legal regulated cannabis dispensaries to the Bronx. I'd like to get a preliminary sense of whether and where Bronx Community Board, Bronx 8 would permit and prefer a licensed retail dispensary to operate. If so, are there known areas where this would be allowed or preferred generally, or perhaps more importantly, where one would certainly not be allowed or desired to open? We're looking to be a positive force and presence in our eventual neighborhood. So we're checking in early with the prospective municipalities to determine where we're a good match with the community and area. Thank you, Dave. And they're from Freshly Baked, www.freshlybaked.nyc. So they're an adult use cannabis dispensary, delivery and retail locations coming soon. So this is a query letter from them. They want to know if we want them in our neighborhood. And, you know, I have my opinions on this, but I certainly will never try to unilaterally speak for not only the committee, but our community also. I could have easily just thrown this email in the garbage, but I don't know. I don't know what the community wants. Maybe the community wants this. I don't know. It's a legal dispensary. We've heard tonight all the problems that we're having with some of these illegal dispensaries. Does you know, committee, do you guys have any thoughts on this?
I'm a big no, thank you.
That was quick.
A big no, thank you. It's, you know, they can be held up, or, you know what I mean? If they get out what they are, or, I mean, we have enough craziness going on without adding wood to the fire here.
Well, so let me just, I see your hand up, Chris. I'll get you in 1 second. So let me just make this clear. So all this really is all I'm really asking is, do we want to invite them to invite them to our meeting to give their spiel about whatever, I'm having visions of, okay, if we do invite them, it does give the community a chance to come out and let their voices be heard on this subject. I think we kind of know from what we've seen that a lot of the reactions have been negative to these type of businesses, even though this is a legal one. What that difference is going to be, I don't know much, but Chris, go ahead. What are you going to say?
I saw something on the news just today that a legal dispensary is set to go in Harlem, directly across the street from the famed Apollo Theater. And they interviewed residents down there, as well as longtime shop owners. And for the most part, people were against it being on a major thoroughfare or street, where some people said they know it's coming. They prefer it to be off on not a major shopping district, off on a side street where there are less foot traffic and stuff like that. So I was just throwing that out there because I just saw it on the evening news before this meeting tonight.
Right. Well, from, just from this short letter the guy wrote, it seems like he's trying to get a feel whether the community would welcome a business like this or not, and if so, what are preferable locations. So, Nick, I hate to put anybody on the spot, but do you have any opinion on this, or as far as should we invite them? We can invite anybody. It might be a good chance to have the community react to this or not. I don't know. I'm throwing out a feeler here.
I mean, I don't see the harm in inviting them. There's definitely, there's some dysfunction in how this policy is working, and in part that, you know, goes back to a previous meeting that we had, or that, you know, I joined on public safety regarding the enforcement component. The licenses were supposed to be designed geographically in terms of how and where, so that different communities didn't have a disproportionate number, or that they weren't clustered together. And unfortunately, with the illegal businesses that up until recently haven't been regulated, I mean, I would think that it would be very difficult for a community board to determine whether the community and its commercial ecosystem could sustain another one. In other words, until the regulation, till the enforcement has caught up to the regulation and caught up to the laws, it seems to me that the legitimate businesses are going to suffer. They're suffering already because they're not playing with a level playing field. Right? They're getting beat on costs. They're getting beat on their startup costs. I heard of one business in Queens. It's doing it the right way. There's training processes involved. There's education that the business owners have to go through. It's pretty onerous, and they're doing it, and it's cost them something like I think someone told me almost $1 million in startup costs, and they're being forced to compete with businesses that are just opening up and doing it illegally. So I think it's a difficult situation, but I do respect the business that's doing this legitimately, and it sounds like this business is doing it the right way. So if it means anything to show respect to that and allow them to present, I think that would be a good thing. But I'm not on the committee, so.
Thanks, Nick. I'm gonna call on, I see Belinda's iPad. I'm gonna call on you next, but I just had one thought to add to that. So one of the things I thought about too was, okay, they're asking for an invitation. It would be easy to just say no, whatever, but just by the way this letter is, I wouldn't want to not invite somebody and then have them not get the, because my perception is that the overwhelming majority is against this type of business, just based on what we've heard in this committee. I don't know that to be true, but that's just what I've witnessed, in this committee and who's come out in previous months against these other illegal smoke shops. But for us not to invite them and them not to know what the community feels, I'm wondering if that's going to give them the impression that, okay, well, nobody seems to oppose to this, and let's just set up wherever the hell we want to. So I don't know if in not inviting them is going to actually encourage them to set up. You know what I'm saying? Or am I rambling? Belinda's iPad. Go ahead, Belinda.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes, I mean, about a week and a half ago, there was 2 busts at illegal shops on Spite and Dival near the Metro North station. We got 3 shops on the same block between 231st Street and 232nd at the end of where KFC is. And then you had that brand new cannabis shop that's next to Food Town. You got one on 231st Street and Albany Crest. I mean, how many damn smoke shops do we need in one neighborhood? And
Yeah.
I'm sure all these shops are not legal. I mean, I'm sure that whoever's renting them, they're just taking the money. Oh, okay, we got somebody taking up our space. As long as they pay the rent, we don't give a damn who they are.
That's correct.
And that's very
None
upsetting.
none of them are legal. We already know that none of them are legal.
So then why the police making a sweep like they did at Spite and Dival area on 225th Street and making their way up and over towards us?
I think they're starting to do that. We had earlier this meeting, we heard from Captain Saror who said, and I read an article too, that a couple of them were closed down in our area. From what she said, it seems to me that maybe more of them were closed. I'll have to get more specific details on that, but the sheriff's department is doing that. And actually next month at a public safety meeting, I'm going to try to get somebody in here from the sheriff's department to address exactly, what they're doing and what their plans are as far as some of these illegal smoke shops. But the one we're talking about now would be a legal one, but I get what you're saying. It's just another one of these businesses in our neighborhood. And so you're a resident of the neighborhood, I assume?
Yes, I'm on Broadway and 261st Street.
Okay. All right. So
But I shop in the area that's the main hub that I do grocery shopping and other errands that I need to take care of.
So I'm taking from what you're saying that you're not in favor of this place coming to our.
Absolutely not in favor.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. David Gelman, you have your hand up.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I don't believe that no is a viable answer. I don't think that the community board can effectively say no. So I think that your inclination to get them to come and speak to the committee and ultimately to the board is a good idea, because then I think you can have influence on where they decide to go. But I think saying no won't stop them. So I think it's better to talk with them.
Okay,
Yeah, Ed, if I may.
sure, Nick.
Yeah, I agree with David. I mean, and to me, I mean, again, it's, I respect what public safety decides because they have purview over this issue, but I don't think we should treat illegal businesses, and I mean, people that do it the right way and people that don't the same. And I think that there should be, I think it would send a message that we want businesses to do things the right way and we'll respect the process if they do that. And I think it's really sad because the way this was rolled out is really hurting the businesses that are trying to do this responsibly. And I understand the apprehension in the community, and I understand why people don't want to, even entertain this idea, but it's unfortunate. But I think that at some point, I'm praying, I hope that they will get this under control and that it can be rolled out responsibly. And I think one step in that process is to meet the businesses that are trying to do it the right way. So.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to get the committee's feel for this and some of the residents, and I mean, we've had forums on this before, and it might be a good idea to have people come out, because if the community is overwhelmingly against this, and even though they're trying to do this the right way, it could be a way for the community to send a message that, we don't want this type of business, regardless of whether you're trying to do it the right way. And then they can decide to do whatever they want after that. But I don't, if I was a business owner, I don't think I'd try to set up shop in a neighborhood where the residents are telling me that they don't want my business there. So, Belinda, is your hand up from before? You got your hand raised again.
I have it raised again.
Go ahead, Belinda.
I mean, there are other much needed businesses in the immediate area. For example, we haven't had a shoe repair shop in over the last, 8-10 years. The two that we did have long since gone. And the closest one is either over on near Johnson or on Marshalloo. And for people who need to drop their things off at the main hub area on their way to work and pick it up on the way back, going, to the other side of Riverdale is an inconvenience. And, even if they do this the legal way, there are much more businesses needed in this area than that.
Okay, understood. Like I said, my thinking before is that if we don't, they are asking for an invite, and if we just decide to ignore them and don't address it, they may just decide to set up shop.
Oh, no, I agree with you on that. Yes, to hear them out.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'm in
welcome.
agreement. I'm in agreement with Nick, yourself, and David and Belinda. Let's hear what they have to say, and let the community, or whoever attends that meeting, give them feedback, positive or negative.
Mary Ellen, you good with that? What do you think?
I guess we should hear them out and see what they have to say. And maybe the community wants to hear it too, and let them say that they don't want it.
Yeah, you know what, to be honest with you, your initial reaction is kind of in line with my thinking about this, but like Nick said, they are trying to do things the right way. And if it's more about the community than about the business, as far as I'm concerned, because if the community feels strongly, again, I don't want to speak for the community. I want the community people to come out and speak for themselves. What is this the business you want in your neighborhood? And if they have strong feelings against it, I want the owners to know that, and they won't know that unless we at least give them an opportunity to speak and have the community hear them. So if and when they do come before us, I'm going to try to prompt the board to get a little more active as far as reaching out to the neighborhoods and having people come into our meeting and let their voices be heard. So anyway, I guess for argument's sake, I'll take an unofficial vote. So yes, we want to invite them. Chris, you're yes or a no?
Yes.
Mary Ellen, yes or no?
Yes.
And I'm a yes also. So we will, if they're still interested in coming, they're the ones who reached out to us. So I would assume that they would still be interested in coming. So we will get back to them and give them a future invite. I think the sooner the better. Our detective from the police commissioner's liaison unit did not come tonight, so I don't know what the issue is with that. I'm going to re-invite him next meeting. But with that, unless anybody has any further new business or anything,
We did make the Riverdale Press.
did we? For what?
Yeah, it was they put our Zoom meeting pictures up about
Okay.
that smoke shop that got busted.
I gotta take a look at that. All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, Mary Ellen?
I said that motion to adjourn, but yeah, I'll second it.
All right, so this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for everybody for coming out, and
All right, thank you.
our next meeting will be, let's see, when is our next meeting? Our next meeting should be, unless there's anything I don't know about, May 16th, which is the third Tuesday of May. So with that, everybody have a great evening, and thanks for coming out.
Thanks, Ed.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
Right.